Man, oh man. Testing 1, 2, 3. We'll give it a minute here to boot up. Who you are, where you're from, what you do, as long as you love me. Let's see. Okay, I see some of you out there, but I don't know who you are. But hi, welcome. Let's see if I can figure out. I don't know. For some reason, it won't let me see who's in the chat. But I'll just say hi when it, gets to that point. Let's see, okay, let's call this Swaggy Study Play 1. Let's just get rid of everything here. Just have a little fun. So turn on the keyboard view for on, kitty. It's hot outside. Command shift period. I guess it's not really breakcore, but yeah, I have been playing with this idea for a while, but I haven't really worked on it. Of just it's breakcore. It's like just using this one drum loop and then trying to do a whole track off of one drum loop, which isn't that kind of the essence of breakcore in a way, but then that loop is not the amen loop. It's more this like trappy loop that I just found on social media. And I was like, yeah, I like the character of that. So I was like really intensely extracting sounds from it using like phase cancellation. And then now there's more I could do like that, and I wanted to do it, and that's why I haven't worked on it. And then I was like, yeah, might as well just have some fun. I think now is kind of where I'm at. So yeah, I just started jamming. And yeah, hopefully really seeing everything I got on the screen here. I will say, there's, yeah, I wonder if I can go look up something. Yeah, there's, one thing that really screwed up my breakcore workflow, to be honest, is that somebody had written a really good plugin for Renoise to simulate like a Kai time stretching, and it doesn't work on my computer anymore because of the new Mac updates. So, yeah, that's something to go into, but again, I don't know. I'm kind of in like a weird mode right now where I keep wanting to do like write some really like almost kind of melancholy, trancey stuff in terms of like synths and atmosphere. But then I also kind of feel like I don't really know where to go with that. But yeah, if you're listening along, I'll talk about what I'm thinking here and what I'm kind of trying to do. Also glad to answer any questions if you have them. So one thing I want to do is go to this. So if you're not familiar with aliasing in Renoise is a feature where, so like you see over on the side here, I've got this one pattern just repeats 4 times exactly right now, right? And so this can kind of bite you in the ass sometimes, but it's also kind of a cool feature where I can select all of those. And right now I'm working over on this side. You can see the orange box. I hit Command P, and then it says create enter pattern index to alias to. I hit 0. And so now these little zeros come up. And so the reason why I'm doing this is because I just, I mean, it's just a repeating kind of repeats the pattern. And then if you make any changes to the first pattern, it will, matriculate them down. And yeah, definitely, I'm definitely all about switching up styles, trying new stuff. I always find it's kind of hard. I was sitting around thinking earlier today, like how I get this like sense of frustration around. There's so many synth sounds that I don't really have a name for. There's like the iconic ones like a Hoover, or even in like the breakcore thing, there's like the landlord stab wheel and that. But yeah, especially like there's a lot of synth sounds. It's almost like by the time they lose their names, they lose kind of some meaning too. And I'm really apprehensive. I actually don't want to add any sort of tonal elements. So I don't want to add any melody, chords, like I have an impulse to. But I also am trying to exercise some restraint here because I think that it is, it's like helpful to not do that. Because I kind of, I feel like I have this trap where I'll just do that and then kind of start getting in a loop and then, yeah. So anyways, so I've aliased these patterns down because I want to add a little velocity changes to our roll here. Is that even hearable? I don't know. But yeah, so I just have that column pulled up. And again, one thing you'll see like that is for me super preferable about workflow, and hopefully the keyboard's showing up on your screen here, but the way I'm hitting the number pads. So if you're not familiar with trackers, this whole edit step thing is what is so life-changing and interesting to me about it is that I've got a bunch of custom keyboard shortcuts so that all these numbers on the number pad, you can see it changes this little number down here. And that number is how many lines you jump down when you enter into a note. So that way, all my editing is like with the keyboard workflow. Can be very fun. So yeah, so like if you were gonna write this one in, I can just read over it. I hit 7, that makes a 12 edit step, and then I hit 5, and it turns it to a 6. So right now I'm not even changing those, I'm just writing over it. So yeah, let's see. Again, I feel like I'm always talking about minimalism, and I'm always really wanting to like exercise a sense of minimalism, but that's freaking hard because my impulse is usually to just layer more stuff on top of it. So I think I'm going to keep trying to work with that angle. And then also kind of talk about some composition points. Because I really, again, I really want to be writing minimal tracks that move, as opposed to like, oh, well, now I got a drums, and so then now I'm going to put in some chords and lead, and I feel like I kind of lose it at that point. I mean, I love melodic stuff, but I would like to build a big catalog of more progressive. So anyways, yeah, so we've got this one snare, and now it's just repeating. If we want to like, render that and not have the aliasing, because the aliasing can bite you in the ass when you go and you edit the first pattern, and then all of a sudden it becomes matriculates that change all the way down. Or maybe you didn't want it. So if we're working with that, we select these 3 patterns, we hit Command U, and it makes them unique. I'm gonna leave it on for right now because we're still not actually done with this. So one thing I do want to do is set it up so that way we get a little panning action on those drums. And so a cool way to do that is if you click on the instrument here, and then you go to modulation. We only have one sample here, and it's going assigned to our modulation set 1. We go into panning, and if I play with that manually, if everything's set up right, you should have heard that panning to left and right. And now that I'm hearing it, maybe it's better with an LFO, but we'll keep doing what we said we're going to do with the stepper here. So anyways, the thing I like about this little stepper module is that it just counts the number of, how do I say this? It steps through this parameter for each hit, right? Now, that shouldn't be as drastic as I thought, but. So yeah, the idea is that the way I'm trying to set this up, and for some reason it's not, there we go, now it's kind of working, is that it switches between left and right pan every single note. So yeah, this is like, I like this beat. It's lacking a little oomph, but I wonder, can we do this track? Do we have a, yeah, I think we do. Sweet. So this is a Renoise extension add-on, whatever you want to call it, plugin that is going to allow me to split this by tracks. Then again, one of the big interesting points about Renoise is that tracks are not married to instruments, right? You can have an infinite number of instruments going through the same track, unlike something like Ableton or Bitwig, where usually it's going to be one track, one instrument. You got all your instruments up here and your tracks there, and then you can interconnect them in any way you want, which is usually better than not. And so I had my kick and then these other little percussive sounds coming through different as different instruments, right? The kick was on one instrument and the percussive sounds were on another. And so what I was able to do with that extension, you go download that, is right click and do split, and then it splits all those percussive sounds into this one track while all of the kicks remain on there, so that way I can individually process them. I can see it's automated through that device, right? That, at least that's what I see of it. I'm not 100% sure what you mean by it's automated through that device. Yeah, you'll have to explain that a little bit. Like I said, there's a lot of things that are a few, and eventually I feel like I would do a video on this, but a few rack extensions, a few plugins. But when I say plugins, I mean these Renoise native plugins, these add-ons. What do they call them? Tools. Okay, yeah, these tools. So that's one of them. Is like allows you to slice tracks by instrument and by other parameters. So just that way, it saves us a little bit of trouble, or gives us the ability to have to not do that by hand. All right, so. Yeah, okay, so the panning of the snare. Yeah, so that snare instrument, which if we go back over here, instrument number 16, so this one. Yeah, and then you go into modulation, and then down to panning, and then we added a stepper module. We changed the steps to 2 long, and so that way, yeah, every other it hits once and then it changes to the next step. Like if we made it 7, it's going to run through all these, and we can actually, you can watch that happen down here. Okay, so, I mean, 7 might be cool, but I don't want to just get lost in, like, following random cool things, right? Although it does add a little bit more depth. And why don't we do 8 because I'm OCD. That gives it a lot of good depth. Okay, so the reason why I separated these tracks over here, if we solo this group, we can hear it, because I wanted to put some reverb on all the percussion, but not the kick. So let's go. I don't know what MP stands for, but there's reverb and then there's MP reverb, I think. I always go for the MP one because I guess somewhere in my mind I was like, well, this is much cooler because it's got more knobs. We put it on the wrong one. Let's go over to our mixer, just drag that over like this. Let's listen to this unsoloed. So like I kind of hear this and then I don't want that last part to be through the reverb. And so I just duplicated the track, make sure we get the same volume level, and then delete the reverb. So we're kind of getting to this point where this is sounding solid enough. I want to add a little bit more, not weight to our kick, but I don't know what you would call it. I want to make it punchier. Now, I'm already kind of brushing up against one of my own limitations here, which is to not use any new samples, so I won't just layer a new sample into it. I will try to do some DSP. So one thing I always find confusing, but is really good to keep track of, is adding effects, whether you're adding the effect to the track or internally to the instrument here. And I'm going to add it internally to the instrument. I like to compartmentalize that when I can, but that's so hard to really keep it on. So it's adding a little bit more punch, right? Let's look what its modulation looks like. So we have a little bit of release on it. Yeah, how's all this sound now together? Sweet. So we don't really have enough. We're peaking all these. And one thing, again, that I'm not a huge fan of in Renoise, but we just have to live with it, is the fact that you can't just select a bunch of tracks and turn all their volume down at once. Again, there is an extension to do that, but I haven't installed it. And so I'll turn these all down by hand to try to get some more headroom out of my mix. I don't know, this is where I'm like scared someone who knows what they're gonna do or knows what they're doing is gonna tune in and then tell me like I'm dumb, especially because I saw a meme about it today. And actually, I just did a big no-no. I turned up my headphone and didn't turn up volume for you guys. So we'll try that. And there's this little button up here that, again, people will probably be like, you're such a noob. That will automatically turn down, auto adjust the master volume to avoid clipping. Well, we're gonna not do that. Okay, and we didn't turn down the volume of this track. Nice to know you can manually type in a value there. Again, you know, I feel like when it comes to stuff like gain, I hate to use the term gain staging when I don't feel like I really know the exact real context of it, but yeah, I don't want to, how do I say this? It can be very confusing to be adjusting the volume in several places. I usually like to keep the mixer at the track mixers at 0, and then adjust the volume within the samples themselves instead of like all these being at different levels. I was recently using another tracker called Sunvox, and like it's kind of interesting when there isn't a mixer and all your leveling and EQing is just internal to the instrument. It's nice because you don't end up with like turning it up here, but it should have come down there and kind of this sort of deal. So. As I'm saying that, I'm breaking that rule, but you know. So, man, the kick is so transparent when it's on its own, isn't it? I wonder if we could, like, let's throw a cabinet on there and turn it all the way. Give it a little bit of guts. Yeah, Sunvox is cool. I'll agree. It is weird, but then I'm a iPad iOS fanboy, and so I end up sitting on my couch a lot just with like my iPad to draw. And I recently realized it's a really good interface if you're like want to just sit with a tablet and make music. Because I feel like it's like where all my best drawing gets done when I'm just like sitting in front of a TV for like, 7 hours or something. And then I was like, oh, I want to do that with music, and I'm not going to do it in something like GarageBand. But yes, Sunvox is good for that. And Sunvox has like some really, really interesting features. As far as like arranging, you would like arrange clips in like a 2-dimensional space where, the one dimension's time and the other dimension's kind of arbitrary. So you can like, I don't know, it's hard to describe, but it's cool. Yeah, it's a good program. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I like where we're going with this. Let's add a little bit of that and let's just try to turn it down. It's wet. Yeah, and shame on me. I originally wanted to make this at 172 BPM because I thought it was like a better BPM to try to mix into drum and bass, but it feels better at 180. And so let's go back. Why isn't we had this kind of roll? And so I'm gonna do the block loop, which is that little thing you see pop up there. Let me see that. And yeah, I think we needed this to be like a rush. So change that to a 6. Hold Alt Shift to do a partial selection. Hit Command I, and we've interpolated. We get a roll. And yeah, again, God, is fucking writing music so hard. Yeah, man, take care. Thank you for the words of encouragement. Yeah, but hopefully we can. So we've got an 8-bar section here that is 5 seconds long. It's not even an 8-bar section, it's a 4-bar section, right? Issues over here because of the calculator? I doubt it. Okay, well, to anybody who's still tuned in, I'm gonna do the thing where I throw out the whole idea right now. So I need to go explore, or I want to go explore some of these ideas in even more stark minimalism. More less. We need more less. So we're gonna delete everything that was saved to copy and actually file save as. Yeah, I wonder why my machine's bogging down. Is it hot? Not particularly hot. Play 1, yes, let's save over it. And then save as play 2. Okay. So we're gonna go ultra minimal. Man, in the words of Rob Thomas featuring Carlos Santana, and it's a hot one. What's 96 divided by 2? It is 48, right? Did we uninstall the pattern rotate? We didn't. That's another plugin we could use. There's other ways to do it. It's not so bad. Okay, and then let's reassign everything onto here. No idea why the computer is bogging down right now. Doesn't even say the CPU is high. Is it really that hot out? That my computer's just like too hot. Everything's overheating. Oh, is that? No, the computer, it should be charging. Yeah, it is charging. So what's going on? See, I already feel like that's more interesting than. is so fucking hot. It's not even funny. It's not even funny. Interesting. That's already gotten more interesting than the last one. My God, it's so hot. Why is it so hot? I was supposed to have air conditioning. Shout out to Bonch if you're listening. I'm gonna jam out the last couple minutes because we only have 6 minutes left. And, you know, I've been doing a good job of paying very close attention to what I'm doing. And working hard. But I will try something interesting that I've been wanting to play with again with bass recently, which is pink noise curves on the bass. I am obsessed with the idea of pink noise curves on the bass. And my system is totally, for no good reason, it's just totally dying on me right now. It's really kind of crazy. I've actually never seen it do this. Pretty new computer too. So I guess it decided that it's gonna still not totally die, but it's going slow. But yeah, let's try. I'm gonna try to get kind of a custom kind of bass, you know. This is Europa bass. It's not bad. guys. It's so hot. Honestly, I cannot wait to be done with the streams and go downstairs. To be honest, but we only got 4 minutes. Tough it out. No way, like, hot enough to make that it slow down like this either, which is kind of like weird. Okay, just out of curiosity, I want to check out what's going on with the bass in terms of its spectrum and kind of force it into a pink curve. I guess we'll have to do that with the EQ in here. And turn on this spectrometer, and then let's just solo it. Okay, it's very not curve right now. I think the best way to shape it is with subtractive, with cascading shelves. More and more high frequency. First perpetrator is even around like 150, right? So, what's the best way to do this? I think, yeah, by default, these are shelves. So I guess we'll just keep duplicating these devices and then moving the shelves. So copy paste, do another one around 500. See, that's now pink noise is how many decibels per decade? Could someone answer that for me, please? Google, quick Google search. I thought it was negative 3 dB per decade. But I could be wrong. 1 over F. But usually I think it doesn't really matter as much as the slope doesn't matter as much as the general pattern. Oh yeah, pink noise falls off at 3 dB per decade. Okay, so as we're playing through this, let's look at per decade, right? And then let's take our fall time and just do it basically slow. Okay. So kind of peaking at there. We gotta kind of take it down a little bit.